Welcome to the Grateful Podcast with Jack Wagoner, where each and every week we explore what it takes to live a life full of purpose and gratitude. I'm your host, Jack Wagoner, and I am a deep believer in what I call the duality of gratitude and relentless action toward your goals. That's where we can feel grateful for what we have in this moment right now while pursuing something bigger and better in the future. And that's the way I like to live, and that is what we talk about here on the Grateful Podcast. The Grateful Podcast with Jack Wagoner presents. Subscribe. Sweet. Welcome to the podcast. Let's go.
Finally doing it.
I know. It's been in talks for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And we got Thunder joining us as well.
What's up, Thunder? Shout out.
All right, we're going to jump right in.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready, dude.
Everyone that knows you knows that your psych on life is contagious. Tell me about that.
Where to start? I don't know. I just feel like every day you got to be excited to do it. Otherwise, that day is not going to be as important as you want it to be. Each day you should have goals. And to complete those goals, you got to bring energy to everything you do, whether that's school, whether that's your job, whether that's your passion, if that's a sport or art or whatever that might be. You got to bring that energy there. Otherwise, you're not going to get the product that you want out of it. And that energy becomes contagious. Then the people around you, whether that be your peers, fellow students, fellow coworkers, doesn't really matter. That energy is so contagious, and that psych, that happiness, that drive, it's just going to build for everyone around you. And then that creates a good environment for you to get what you want done.
Yeah. When are you most psyched? When do you feel it the most?
Most psyched. I think it's got to be after I've really pushed myself in something. For me, that comes most often with athletics, because that is probably my biggest passion. Whether that be rock climbing or tennis. If you don't know, I'm a up and coming tennis guy, you know.
Tennis star. Let's go.
You know, starting college in fall. Hopefully we're going to play some tennis, either D2 or D3. But anyways, I feel the most psyched during those moments when I push myself very hard. When I'm up early in the morning training, it's freezing out. I'm still going on a run. It doesn't matter. I know, Jack, you know a little something about that.
What'd you do this morning?
This morning was a rest day. Yesterday.
Okay, dang it. That question.
No, yesterday I was up at 5, ran 2.5 miles, came home, 20-minute meditation and a little light stretch to start the day. I like to that 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock time. That's when the best work gets done, in my opinion.
Because no one else is
doing it. Whether that be you're up early to exercise or you're up early to get some work done on whatever projects you're working on at the moment. But yeah. That's when I feel most psyched.
That's been huge for us, the early wake up. Thinking back, I think we started to grow the most once we started to get up early and work out. Like that exercise in the morning transfers so much to the day that you have ahead.
Your day right.
Yeah, even you're getting 1 less hour of sleep, but it feels like you got 5 more hours, the amount of energy you get.
Well, I was saying this to you the other morning. We were in my car before school, and I was just saying, I feel so much more alive now. Like I'm ready to go. Because I had been off the grind on that for a couple weeks. I had a bit of a lung problem, so I was resting from the running, and I was finally getting back at it, and I just could feel the difference in energy when I was there. I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel sluggish. Like off the bat, I'm ready to go after that. You know?
Yeah. When did you first figure that out? And do you remember what it felt like when you first were like, damn, this feels like a hack. This feels like unfair. I just have so much energy after working out in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I don't recollect one specific moment, but I do remember it was like kind of a shift of an era. It was around the same time for both of us. It was around our sophomore year in that winter. For some reason, dude, it's always the winter arc that gets you going.
It's the winter arc.
The cold pushes you more. But anyways, it was that winter. Just, I don't know, I was toying around. I wanted to run more, but I didn't have time in the afternoon because I was doing stuff. I was climbing. I had schoolwork. You know, it gets the better of you sometimes as the day starts going. But if you wake up in the morning, there's no excuses. So and I've always been an early riser, so that's helpful for me. I kind of got an advantage in that lane. So I was up kind of early anyways, but then I'm just like, might as well do something with that time instead of just sitting around. And I mean, it was almost just immediately. You just felt that click, and you feel more energized throughout the day. It's just so good.
Yeah. The early riser thing. I mean, dude, we'll have a sleepover, stay up to like 2 a.m. and be up at 6 a.m. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
I'm a pretty early riser, but I can sleep in. For you, you're like, yeah, I slept in. It's until 7:45. Haven't done that.
7:45 is so late for me.
Yeah, that's like never gonna happen.
I swear, 6:45 is a sleep in for me. I haven't slept past 8:30 in probably 5 years.
It's crazy. Like I really envy the natural wake up. I think one part where I get caught up, and you know this, is I get a lot of really good like brain work done at night. Like my brain goes right before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And so even like last night I was up and I'm like, shoot, dude, it's like 10:20 and I got to get up and run tomorrow morning. But it's when I think it's easier to tap into my brain. Like I have a natural night owl tendency, but I want to be an early morning person.
Luckily for me, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
At nighttime, I crash out. I have the brain of a 5-year-old after 8 o'clock. I swear.
It's facts.
I'll try to be doing work or something, and I'll just be like, this, that, yes, no. Like I can't think.
Can't
straight.
focus.
Yeah. So I try to focus on reading after that hour if I'm trying to still do something productive at that point, either like resting or doing something physical, or if I do need to still use my brain, I try to read at that point, and I do well with that at nighttime. But mornings where I think best. So, what's up, Thunder?
Thunder joining.
Yeah, I mean, if I wake up in the morning, that's when I'm going to do my best work.
Right.
So it's just interesting how people have those natural tendencies. Yo, what is happening right now?
She felt left out of the
you want some of that energy too, don't you, Thunder?
Yeah, that distracted me. Yeah, we're gonna put her away.
Thunder.
Yeah, like it's interesting how like naturally we can tend towards different things, even though we might want something. I think what I've learned is sometimes I have to embrace my like for you, if you were to try to really work hard at night because you didn't get stuff done, you'd be much less productive than if you just went to bed early and got up in the morning and did that in the morning.
It's beneficial too, because if I pass out at 9 o'clock, I actually still get 8 hours of sleep if I wake up at 5.
Right.
So that's just like natural benefits there, you know?
You kind of keep the cycle going naturally.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, I think where I've struggled is I try to burn the candle at both ends, because I want to wake up early, but I'm getting my best work done at night.
Yeah, dude, I'll wake up in the morning. I got a text from you at 10:30 and then another one at 5 in the morning. I'm like, when is this dude sleeping? How does he still have this energy?
Why is he doing this? Yeah. You were talking about reading, and I think that's another thing that you've gotten a lot more into recently.
Yeah, for sure.
What is it about reading that you love, and what type of books do you like to read?
I read a big variety. I would say personal enjoyment wise, my favorites could be science fiction, kind of like what people consider science fiction classics. I really enjoy Isaac Asimov and Ray Bradbury. They're two of my favorites. But in general, I like to get lost in a world with reading. I think that's something that's not quite talked about enough. Like a lot of people, they use reading to gain knowledge, and I definitely do that as well. I read nonfiction books, I read autobiographies, and that helps you gain perspective and knowledge. But I think reading is really important for you to get lost in a different world than your own. People are so absorbed in their own worlds. It's very important to go into someone else's world and read through someone else's perspective and see how they see the world, whether that be nonfiction or fiction. Fiction is really just the author's perspective on the world through a different character. So you're still seeing their perspective.
Right.
And I think that's something that's not said enough about entertainment in general. Obviously, reading's probably a healthier form than watching movies, but there's still that value of losing yourself in someone else's world and gaining their perspective.
Getting that empathy.
Yeah.
You find that in music as well. Like,
for sure,
You can understand a different culture, obviously not to the extent as if you were in that culture, lived in that culture, but you can gain perspective through immersion in different types of media.
Yeah. I mean, just off the bat example, I'm a big hip-hop fan. a lot of what they're talking about, I've gone through none of that.
Yeah.
Like, just basic stereotypes of what you see in hip-hop music. You see a lot of talk about the black community. You see a lot of talk about drugs and stuff like that. I don't have any perspective on that, but I'm able to gain it and see what other people have been through and how that's affected them through music.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, that's the exact example I was thinking of when I said that as well. It's like, it's really cool how art can bring about different perspectives and really enhance our vision on the world, because without any of that, we're very narrow-minded in what we see.
Sure.
We have a lack of perspective because we can only go through so much in a life.
Exactly, yeah. So if you're able to expand that life that you've gone through, you're able to see at least a small fraction of other people's lives. That allows your life to be bigger, and eventually you can have more impact because you have more understanding.
Right. It's not real life perspective. I think that the best way we can learn is through actual action, but it's the next best thing to that.
Yeah, 100%.
That leads me to want to kind of switch gears into another aspect of you that I think you don't always talk about as much, but you're an extremely creative person. You're very artistic. You've played guitar. You've been taking guitar lessons, or no, you stopped recently. But since I've known you, you're a really musical person. You're an artistic person.
Yeah.
What role does art in that way and creativity, what role does that play in your life?
I think it has a very large role in my life, honestly. It's kind of where I find my peace, if I'm being honest. I don't talk about it very much because it's not something I like to be super public about. It's more something that gives me peace. And I think that's important, that each person finds those activities that bring them peace. For me, one of my favorite things to do when I'm struggling, having a tough moment, or even just need to step away from the world for a minute, is to just play my guitar, sing along to some songs I like. It brings me into this state of mind where I can focus on a soul thing. And I think that's, again, what you're talking about with creativity in general. I'm able to dial in on that, and really helps me be more in touch with myself, because I'm trying to pull thoughts from my head and put them into words, whether that be writing songs or drawing or any other type of art that I've gotten into.
It's one of your ways of really processing the world around you.
For sure. Processing. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, honestly. Some people process through journaling. I know you do that a lot, and that helps you process. Some people, that's actually one of the better uses of social media, in my opinion. People use that to process the world around them and put forward like their thoughts on the world. And I do that more privately to myself with art and creativity.
Yeah. You're a teenager, speaking of social media, that's never been on social media. Yeah. Do you feel like you're missing out at all? Do you feel like you've dodged a bullet? I want you to kind of go through that, because although like you don't think of yourself, well, maybe you do, of being like really special for that, it's very rare. It's extraordinarily rare. You not being on social media ever as a 17, almost 18-year-old is a very unique perspective. And I talk to you about it a lot, because I think so many of the people around me, they lack original ideas. Yeah. They find so many of their ideas just scrolling through Instagram Reels, and they don't even know that they're not their ideas, because they become so out of touch in this weird state of mind. Yeah. Kind of like art brings you to a peaceful state of mind, it brings them to this state of mind of consumption and wanting more, and dopamine hits. Yeah. And being someone unaffected by that, I think the originality of your ideas is very attractive to people around you, because your ideas aren't saturated and aren't taken from external sources. You have a lot of, like, you're very intuitive in your ideas.
Well, I want to start by saying I'm not necessarily a social media hater in every aspect. I think it has great uses. For example, creators like Jack trying to build a positive following and trying to do something good for the world, or just businesses in general. It's a great way to get ideas and goods out there. But there's a lot of negative things, like you're saying, this saturation of ideas, this constant reminder of the top 0.001% of the world that everyone's trying to strive to be. It's just constantly in your face, boom, boom, boom. You're scrolling, it's just over and over. and it's just ruining the attention span of the generation as well. So I don't know. It all started as just my parents restricting because they're big social media haters. So they're just like, no, you're not allowed to have it till you're, I think they said 15 or 16 or something. So a couple years ago at this point when I could have actually gotten it. But at that point, I'd witnessed the effects of it. I'd witnessed some of my best friends who I used to know before they had it be such lively people. Now they're consumed by their phones and consumed by this social media. I see them spend so much time on it, taking away from the greater things of life. And it was just kind of a no-brainer at that point where I have no specific need for it. Like if I am owning my own business in the future, maybe I would hop on some of these platforms and help promote my business. But it's that fine line where I know you've said this a lot of times before, where you're talking about how it's you versus billion-dollar companies whose single goal is to get you on their app.
Right. They want to keep you there for as long as possible. It's an unwinnable battle.
So even if you dive the slightest bit into that, they're going to hook you. And they're going to keep you going and going. And I think it should be talked about more, how much of an addiction it is. How much of a drug it is.
It's a drug. They call them, people on social media are consumers.
Yeah.
What other things are people called consumers of?
Any product.
Alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And I think the first step, what you just said, is recognizing that it is an addiction.
There should be more awareness about it.
How many people do we know mutually that are extremely addicted to social media, but refuse to recognize it as an addiction?
So many. It's like, you'll talk to them about it, you'll be like, sometimes I'll be at a gathering with my friends, right? And I'll just be like, yo, why are you on your phone right now? Like, we're together as friends. And they'll be like, dude, I was just checking this one thing. And I would like to say more often than I actually do, like, you're addicted to your phone. Like, I want to tell these people just straight up, you're addicted to your phone. You need to think about this and think about how much it's actually taking control of your life and how much it's limiting you from the goals that you actually want to achieve.
Yeah.
I think that's another big thing when we were talking about that psych of life and energy. I think social media really brings that down.
Yeah.
Because it's so consuming, like we're saying.
Right, it consumes your energy.
Yeah, it really does. And then you're like a zombie.
Yeah. Another thing that I think, and I'm not sure if this is just your nature, like who you are, or if it's a product of you not being on social media.
Yeah.
You're a very content person. So you, more than anyone, I strive to have your level of contentment in life right now. I'm a very forward thinker, and I'm always wanting to strive for more.
Yeah.
You know that. It's like Hugh Jackman in The Greatest Showman.
Dude, classic. Shut up.
Best movie. But you're always so like happy right now. Yeah. And obviously not always, right? Like there's always moments, but do you think that's more of just who you are as a person, or do you think part of it is you're not constantly seeing the top 0.01% of people on social media that you want to strive to become?
I think those are probably the two biggest aspects that go into it. They're definitely big factors. It's partly the lack of that constant shoving down your throat, the top, whatever we're calling it, percent. But it's also just who I am as a person. I really like to be content where I am right now, because if I am, then what I'm doing at this moment is going to go better. And in turn, the future is going to be better for me. And my goals are going to be completed naturally because I'm so focused on what I'm doing right now. The future will line up as it is. I'm a big believer in fate. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, what's meant for you is going to happen.
Life is a roller coaster.
Might as well put your hands up.
Go along for the ride.
Let's go.
If you're enjoying this episode of the Grateful Podcast, I would very much appreciate it if you could either share this podcast episode with friends and family, or kindly leave a review down below on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It would help me be able to make this podcast better for you and better for all my other listeners. Thank you. Enjoy the show. That's your quote.
It's my quote.
I think that's very well encapsulated in what you just said. If instead of trying to forcefully create a future, put everything in what you have right now and doors will open in the future.
And I think you do that more than you give yourself credit for. Like, you're talking about how much of a forward thinker you are, but you're thinking about these things, but you're still so focused on right now.
Yeah.
And I think you're a lot naturally like you were just saying for me.
Right.
How you are focused on the moment now, and you do believe that these things are going to happen. You just talk about those things that you want to happen more often.
Yeah. 100%.
Which makes sense when your biggest skill is talking, dude.
Yeah. I'm an ambitious person. Yeah. I think that's the talking about goals is one thing that I want to get better about.
Yeah.
There's science behind the dopamine released when you talk about your goals.
Okay.
So if you say, for example, yeah, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and run tomorrow. You tell everyone. On one hand, maybe that'll help hold you accountable if you really care what they think about you. On the other hand, whoa, you're crazy. You're going to do that?
Yeah.
That's insane. Their reaction releases dopamine inside you. You already got part of the reward for doing the thing.
Yeah.
So if you save that and you internalize it, your reward will be greater. You'll have more motivation. You won't feel as depleted before trying to do something. So me, being a very forward thinker with ambitious goals, I want to be more conscious about outwardly stating my goals because I don't want to ruin the reward before I get there.
I think you probably already do a lot of this, but a way to kind of do that still without forcing that pre-dopamine reward is to write down your goals.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Just like, and I know you're a believer in manifesting stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to manifest it, not necessarily telling everyone so that you're getting that pre-dopamine, but instead like writing them down every day, what you want to happen, how you're going to make those things happen. I think you do that a lot.
Asserting it to myself.
Exactly, yeah. More to yourself than to the people around you, because who are you really doing it for? The people around you? No, you're doing it for yourself.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a big growth moment that both of us have gone through.
For sure.
In the past few years is, I think I was more of a people pleaser than you were,
yeah, I would agree with that.
But both of us still had that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like putting our needs below others because we thought that's how we could propel ourselves forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know you got to go to work soon.
We still got good 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Let's go. And we're going to keep going.
Keep going.
I want to hear about your goals going forward.
Yeah. So a lot of my goals are very I don't want to say material. I feel like that's the wrong word because like material, you think about like physical things, but like my goals are very focused on certain things happening, you know?
Yeah.
For me right now, moving into my college years, my biggest goal is to get there, you know?
Yeah.
Like start that process, like get to school, get accepted on, I'm looking to be a doctor in physical therapy. So I've been accepted to schools. Tennis coaches have showed interest in me. I want to mesh everything up and make sure it's all concrete. That's my biggest goal right now, really lock everything in. Because then I'm able to actually do what I want to do. I'm able to gain a lot of knowledge in this field I'm super interested in of physical therapy and the world of athletic training and all that. And I'm also able to progress in my athletic skills, my tennis, you know? So I need to make everything concrete before that happens.
Right. Because right now, the senior year, it feels like a very liminal time where it's in between two things.
Yeah.
You're living in one future and in the right now.
Yeah.
And so I think the uncertainty of it all can make it all a little overwhelming. Not knowing what's happening in only, how long? 7 months until we go off, right? And having no idea what it's going to be like can be kind of a weird feeling inside.
So this is kind of a different goal that you probably wouldn't hear very often, but one of my goals right now is to try not to think about that.
Yeah.
Once I've locked in, like I'm going here, try to put it on the back burner because it's not important in this moment. Thunder.
Yo, chill, Thunder.
Chill, Thunder. You scratch my pants. All right. No, but not think about what's in the future, but still be focused on this moment. Like you said, 7 months. That's a lot of time, dude. There's so much we can accomplish in those 7 months. And if we're just focused on prepping ourselves for something we don't know what we need to prep to do, then we're going to lose those 7 months without anything getting done.
Right.
We've got 7 months which could change your entire life in ways that you have no idea about, that we're just casting off to the side. This is just, I need to prep for college.
This.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, like.
Yeah. I love how you said these 7 months could change your life in any way you don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's one way you live I live that way too. It's awesome. You have no idea what could happen today, tomorrow. It could be the best day of your life. You could meet someone that changes your life.
Exactly. Bring it back to that roller coaster metaphor. This is my greatest creation ever, by the way, this roller coaster metaphor.
It's pretty good.
Dude, you're just like, you're chilling on the roller coaster, it's going straight. Oh shit. Drop off.
Just go straight down.
You don't know what's happening. Or it could go straight up. I mean, like, I feel like down on the roller coaster is up in life because that's the best part of the roller coaster.
Yeah, I like that. A little opposite.
Yeah. But you don't know when that drop off is going to happen. And
Happen at any time.
It could happen any moment. And you just got to be in that moment to actually witness it. If you're not in that moment thinking about something else that's going to happen, that could happen, all these what ifs, then you're going to miss that moment. And you're going to miss what could be the drop off of your life.
Right.
And by drop off, I mean success.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be in tune, because sometimes maybe it's really subtle. I know it's not as good in roller coaster, but maybe it's just a little subtle drop. But that one, if you're not paying attention to it, you just overlook it. It could have been the one that led you to another that would have changed your life. You know what I mean?
Or maybe it's a gradual one. Compound effect.
Compound effect.
I don't know if you've talked about this on the channel yet.
I haven't talked about this book.
All right, this is one of our favorite concepts. We both read this book. Who's it by again? Remind me.
Darren Hardy, I believe.
Something like that. Let's go with that. Basically, what the compound effect says is that if you build small habits over time, they will build up, and eventually it will be an exponential increase. This is proven by math. This is proven by experience by many successful people. Read the book. It's a great read. It will probably change your life. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but like I was saying, sticking with the roller coaster metaphor, that decrease could be super gradual, and you could just be slowly going off that drop off, and you wouldn't even know it until it hits you. So that's why you gotta stay in the moment, stay with these small things that you don't even think matter, and they'll eventually lead to these big goals that you have.
Yeah. It's like 4 minutes of your time, 20 minutes of your time every day is like a year or something like that. No matter what you're doing, if you do it every day and you're consistent with it, it will add up and it will make a difference.
And those little things can either be negative or positive.
Right.
That's the choice.
If you have a bad habit, if you can, like, you have 2 minutes, right?
Let's bring it back to social media. If you're on social media for 2 minutes every day, that little time, most people are on for like 4 hours a day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 minutes a day, maybe, I don't know, it depends on how you use it. Yeah. But
20 minutes,
you know what I mean?
Let's say.
Right. Like, depending on how you use that time, you could be using that time. You could do like a ab workout in those 20 minutes. In 6 months, you'll either have a 6-pack or
you'll look the exact same, which maybe you don't like.
Right. And just 20 more minutes a day on social media. Like,
exactly.
No change. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
Every moment can make a difference. Every moment's important. I hate nihilism because
What's nihilism?
Nihilism is the philosophy that life really doesn't matter at all.
Oh, that's the worst I've ever heard, dude. Shout out if you're nihilist, I guess, because we still love you, but I don't agree.
Why?
Dude, if life isn't important, then what are we doing here, dude? Like, if we don't have a lasting impact and we don't have a goal that's going to leave a lasting impact, whether that be on the whole world or whether that be on a few people that you love and care about, your family, your close friends, then what are we doing here? Because I know these people that are idealists, they definitely have someone they care about. They definitely have something they care about.
Right.
And they're just trying to be like different, whatever, you know?
I think some people genuinely believe it. And an argument for nihilism is that no matter what you do, humankind will go extinct, the planet will blow up, the galaxy.
That's a long ways away. That's not in your lifetime.
Right.
You can still make an impact on your lifetime and probably the next few, depending on like how climate change keeps going. I mean,
even if you can't have an impact on the universe as a whole, even if nothing you do can make an impact on anything outside this planet, you can make one person's life better. That still matters.
For me, that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. I could talk to someone outside right now. I could compliment them. I could make them smile. That's enough.
Making their day better is enough.
Yeah.
That one little act.
Yeah. And so the idea that none of it matters, maybe on a grand scheme, it really doesn't matter. But it's enough that it matters right now. That person just feels a little better.
That's again what we're talking about, how looking to the future is a problem.
Yeah.
Like they're going so far in the future, like this doesn't matter because we're probably all going to die one day. Yeah, we are. But I don't care about that right now. That's not right now.
Yeah. And when you die one day, I think about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like if I'm about to die, I would do anything for any of the moments I'm living right now, no matter how sucky they are.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't change a thing.
I was running -2 degrees last week.
It's post, so we're allowed to talk about it. No extra pre-dopamine.
Yeah. Like freaking crying because it was so cold.
Yeah.
It felt horrible. And I'm like, yo, this pain right now, I would do anything when I'm about to die to feel.
Yeah.
Like soak it in. Don't try to numb it away with something because it is still a sensation.
It's still a feeling.
Yeah.
That's you being alive.
That's alive.
That's worth
it. Exactly.
Life is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the culture we live in really tries to numb pain.
Yeah.
And what you really have to do with it is just accept it and be okay with it.
Yeah. This goes back to our all-time debate, dude.
Should we put it on the podcast?
I think we gotta save it for next time.
Save it for next time?
Maybe this could be the whole topic of our next episode.
I like that.
I'll be back, guys.
All right. Time to go to work?
I think so.
All right. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. You have no social media, so it's not like they can find you anywhere, but
just tag Ben Shelton. That's basically me.
You can find him back here in a couple weeks, maybe.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, dude. Thank you for listening to the Grateful Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could either share this episode with friends and family who you think would enjoy it, or leave a review down below on what I can do to make this better for you and for other listeners. All that would just help me be able to spread my message of gratitude and living a purposeful life. I hope you have a great day. See you soon.